Hello, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? Perfect. Okay. So hope that works now. Nice. Finally, something works. Okay, cool. Uh, so now that you can hear me, welcome to the first streaming session. Um, okay. So do you guys have any questions so far? I know a lot of people have questions about the loader brush, so I will definitely show some of that, and maybe we can get some insight on that. Okay, so starting with um, thinner base color here in the back of the brush. So again, consistency wise, something like a medium or a heavy glaze. And then some white to the tip of the brush. Let's see, maybe that was a little bit too much. And I start and I apply more pressure here in the beginning. And when I see it's mixing with the color, I pull it down and I let that dry. It doesn't always work 100% perfect, like here you see it just lost too much white in the beginning. So for this bust, I thought more like I don't know. I think it's always good to have like a quite a proper idea of what you're painting before. So this one will be more like a forest witch using a lot of greens and as like a complementary contrast or split complementary contrast to that. Um, I will use some red in the face and just different green tones on the cloak. Yeah, the white is just pure directly out of the pot. Um, what do you mean with side to side? It's really important to really also control the pressure that you apply to the brush for the lower brush. For a lot of other techniques, it's more important to keep like a steady distance to the surface. But for the loader brush, you really need to press hard in the beginning to really make the thicker paint mix um, with the paint in the back of the brush, and then pull it down. So let's do it again here on the forehead to do like a larger transition, so you can see it maybe a bit better. So at the beginning here, I'm really applying a lot of pressure to the brush. And the further down I go, the more I get of the back color in the back of the brush. Here, because I don't want that blotchy end to be visible, I'm just blending that. So something like here at the moment is not really perfect, but you can just leave that, let it dry, and come back once it's dry so you don't rip off any of the pigments. While that dries on the top, we'll just continue here with those wrinkles. Not too much white. If you paint elderly skin, it's quite important to not really start too saturated. But that's in general advice. I think it's easier for skin if you don't start all that saturated because you can easily bring up the saturation afterwards. And also something that you can see here, it's quite nice actually how those little wrinkles start to pop out. So we'll just exaggerate what we see. I don't know, it seems that the shed is frozen. I don't really know why. I just wondered if the chat is frozen. Ah, lazy boys. It's too early in the morning for you guys, right? Okay. So okay, I will just continue and leave you guys alone, staring at the screen. This is just some pure white. Here to get those really bright top reflexes. Then I'm mixing some highlight color here to the side. Yeah, I also have my tea just next to me. So I'm quite happy with the setup so far. I mean, beside the sound problems and all the other problems I had setting it up, but I really like the picture, and I think it's quite amazing what you can actually see here in the live stream. Yeah, I love the nose technique that happens when you paint in winter. So again, here like a small loaded brush to get a proper highlight here on that bit of the brow. It's a size 1 Winsor Newton, Series 7. Um, One is like my preferred standard brush. I think with a good tip, you can do almost anything with a size 1. Sometimes for larger models, it's better to have a 2. But I also have like a 00, but I really rarely use it. For these small ones here, you have to be quite careful to not really put the white all over the place. So just dotting here, the brightest highlight on the top of the wrinkle, and then just wiping it off on my finger and blending those in. So placing it, cleaning the brush, and then feathering it out here to the side. So here on the top, you can still see like the white dot here is way too visible. So to soft that out. And sometimes if you build up texture, like three-dimensional texture on the model with your paint, it's not really possible to fix it with thin glazes. So you need to also use a little bit thicker paint to cover the mistake in the transition. Okay, and also in the other direction. And I think it's already quite nice to see how much of a nice and brightly contrasted model we have at the moment. Um, in that step here, I really like to overdo the contrast a little, um, because the glazes will later really tone the contrast down. You can see here from like the cheeks, I just did like a basic transition in there to get like the light here on the top side, but we'll also have to do like those rounder highlights. So I'm mixing a color in a thicker glaze. It's more like a light base tone. Now just with a clean brush, I'm just dabbing to the side to get like a transition. You can see it changes quite dramatically the shape of the object. The tones that I've used so far, or the colors, are red beige, a bit of black, both from model color, and the white is my favorite, Schminke white, the titanium white. The company that Bust is from is Spira Mirabilis from Lucas Pina. Um, it's not available anymore. It was limited to the insane number of 37 pieces, so it was gone in a second. Um, but yeah, I think it's so rare, and you really don't see it a lot. But I was lucky enough to grab two copies, so I've already painted one. and I thought it would be a nice giveaway actually to raffle off that miniature amongst you guys. Yeah, like the Schminke White is really great. I'm a huge fan of the color because it has a few advantages. Um, First of all, it's super bright, so you can really achieve a high contrast. And a lot of whites turn chalky if you use them just directly, and this one is, by its nature, is quite satin actually if you use it pure. But that just really easily overcomes the problem of the chalky white. Plus, with one tube of that, if you don't leave it open like me, you should really be able to paint a year or two, even if you paint as much as I do. So it's quite a good investment. It's funny if you look at your Amazon recommendations now, you will also find dark sea blue and the Amel brown. The shrink is really great, but like for example, the dark tones. Some of the dark tones have the problem that they don't really stick all that well to the model. So if you use them for, I don't know, your gaming models or any area that you really touch a lot, um, might be a bit problematic. Yeah, it's just because it's not recommended by Amazon. I didn't mention the soft tone. No, actually, um, I mean, you guys know it from the videos. I really like the strong tone and also the soft tone. Um, The strong tone is really nice because it's a little bit more desaturated than the soft tone. The soft gives you quite a heavy sepia impact, but for like warmer cloth or warmer um, situations, actually, this is quite nice. So uh, you can see here that went a little bit too bright, so I have to tone that down again. Okay, also we need to highlight those little wrinkles here. Hi, hash tenor. Okay, just using a bit of glaze to the mid-tone actually here to see it's fairly light glaze, and I'm just sorting out the highlights. Okay, so I think should be ready for some shadows. For the shadows, I will also use the Armor Brown first and block in like the strongest shadows. So we'll definitely start here the with the eyes and the nostrils. Oops. Okay, I have to correct that. Okay, and a bit thinner, so I can actually quite a bit thinner. So we're working with like a light glaze consistency, and we use that here for those shadows under the eye. So, any questions, or you're all just enjoying your morning coffee? Morning coffee here. Here you can really see why I love the Alma brown. It's like the pigments are so fine that you can really blend it out quite easily just with some water. And you get a very nice. Yeah, like check out your Amazon recommendations. No, it's a fantastic color. The nice thing is, um, it doesn't look all that saturated. Once you add white, for example, it turns quite pink actually, which is also a nice tone for lips. Uh, and because they're designed for the airbrush, it's really nice. It's pre-diluted and a bit transparent actually. Yeah, it's the Model Air one. Um, I think yeah, now it's Amo Brown from Model Air. And yeah, it's quite amazing actually if you compare both sides of like the cheek area, um, how much definition you get just by adding the shadow color. So also here glaze it to the sides. So here on the temple area. Yeah, actually, I've already set up things to film a large diorama base. Like pretty cool subject. I don't want to tease too much or talk too much about it. Teasing is the devil. But the thing is, the problem is that it's quite large and it's very hard to film. So I have to uh, walk my head around it to see how I actually going to show you everything is needed. But I definitely want to cover like something like a diorama base. It will have a lot of weathering, um, so I have to see how I split it up and show you the different elements of the diorama. Okay, so I will also start introducing some red now. This here is quite an aggressive red. Is also red from model color Air. Um, it's quite cyan, so it's a little bit too pink for our witch here. So I've added some scrap brown from Games Workshop, which is quite orange. So it gives it's a little bit warmer. Okay, we have to be sure to look really on the thin side, so like a super light glaze. Just add that here in the mid shadow area. It's not cyan, it's magenta. Uh, yeah, my brain is also partly sleeping. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the DD set was great, and also Matt is also working on something. Uh, okay, yeah. One guy is he's asking in German if I could show some non-metal on the necklace of our lovely lady here. The thing is, the non-metal part here is extremely small. I can definitely show that, but maybe we can also do like a full non-metal non-metal streaming session the next time. I think that might be more effective because those small elements like these here, they're just it's very important to control the contrast. Anything else is actually maybe the placement is also important. So we can do that, but again, uh, the rest here is it's a rock and um, actually a snail shell. Okay, so I'm just putting some almond brown as a base tone and over the whole area. Also, make sure to be really dark in the recesses. So, what kind of figure would you guys like to see for a non-metal streaming session? something more like a Games Workshop figure, or we could also attempt something larger, like I did on the knight, for example, on the knight's bust. Um, it's really up to you. So here I'm just adding some rucksack 10 here in the brightest highlight area, just following like the top crease of the necklace, and just a small back reflection here on the lower side. And just some pure white highlights. And like I've described on the non-metal guide, these really need to follow the shape here. So this one here needs to be longer than here on the small bit down there. Needs to be more round. I fear the Infinity models are quite small. I don't know if the setup would really, if that would be beneficial for you, because um, this here works nice because it's a little bit larger, I guess. But I have to try out how the setup deals with small figures. Okay, we can just have a so let's see how that works. So yeah, here you can see like quite a bold, simple approach to the top reflexes here with like a curved horizontal line. Um, so yeah, maybe we can just show that something like that, same scale, or even like large armor from the I think the Jeanne d'Arc from Fair Models would be also good. So yeah, and you can see also here like this slight satinness of the white is quite beneficial to get like a proper reflective look. Yeah, also I actually managed to get like a full Hero Quest Master Edition last year. I exchanged it for some other miniatures, so you might also be able to do some Hero Quest. So I can just continue with some Thank you. You request gargoyle? Yeah, that's it's quite a funny classic miniature. Yeah, maybe I should buy Schminke stock. Okay, so I just mixed a desaturated purple here using the red, some black, and some white. I will use that here for the area under the eye. Need to be a bit darker. And some of the light skin tone here to bring it already up a bit to the side. So annoying, that little stain just next to my nice highlight. Yeah, I think with the Schminke you have to get like the full assortment, and my painting room is not big enough for that. It's like a medium glaze, slowly building up like the high fry. Yeah, I'm I'm also happy to finally have made it to streaming. Okay, I'll have to add a bit more of the red beige here to the mix to get it a little bit more like the skin tone because it's still standing out a bit too colorful. So now I'm again taking some of that thinned down armor brown, just decreasing the shadows. Okay, I think maybe it might also be a bit boring if I just continue like that on the face. I can also show like a load brush on a large area like that. Um, so I might do that. By the way, it's also good to sometimes get like a bit of color going on around the model or around the area that you paint at the moment. So here, this is some model color gunship green. Just take plenty of that and like a medium, between medium and heavy base consistency. I'm just giving that here a solid layer. Okay, we have to make sure that it's dry before we continue with the lower brush on top, so that just gives me time to put the base color on that side here. The brush is a Winsor Newton Series 7 size 1. As you can see, this side is almost dry. Okay, because I want the green to be quite vibrant in the highlights, I'm adding a bit of the, I think it's worm green um, from P3. And so we'll do the lower brush not with the white in the tip, but with some of the worm green. You can see I'm applying more pressure here in the beginning. And here I just have the green. So the light layer consistency here. And I also want some green here, just spray on the top, some more bright green. So I've just loaded the brush with more of the green. And I'm using more pressure to pull it further. Okay, guys. So um, I think it's I don't want to like overdo things here and bore you guys. So I think I will just continue for I don't know maybe half an hour. If you have any requests or wishes for for right now or for the next time, just let me know. I can try to incorporate it here into the streaming flow. Okay, and the one here on the side turned out a bit too bright in the beginning, so just have to soften it out a little also to the other side. Okay, and I've just mixed a heavy glaze of a light mid-tone from the green. I'm just using that to pull the highlights together. Yeah, I really it was funny. I had Caleb here, and he asked me, I asked him like, did you ever try the loaded brush? And he was like, yeah, no, not really. I don't know where to use it for. Where do you use it for? And I was like, what do you mean where? He's like, well, what do you paint with it? And I was like, actually, you can paint almost anything with it. Um, so I really like the technique because it's so versatile, and depending on how you apply the pressure and what consistencies you use and the amount of color, you can do almost anything with them. You just really need to practice it. Actually, it's most of it is practice, and in most other techniques, you use um, like a lot of the same pressure on the brush to pull the move, and you don't need to control three things at a time. So the lower brush is a bit challenging in the beginning. So because here we have the pressure, consistency, and angle of the brush that is important. So if you have a large area, it's good to pull the brush first with more pressure like that on the surface and then lift it up like that. This way you don't really see um, the tip of the brush all that much. And you can see it also works out with a different color than using the white. I mainly use the white because I like to bring things up with that super strong white. But I actually think something like a Space Marine is good to practice low brush because you have like one of the more cleaner ones with like a not too decorated armor because you have like quite a lot of open free space and you can really pull the brush. Uh, and it's definitely more complicated to do something like this here with like a lot of movement and wrinkles because your brush also needs to really follow the wrinkles. So with the Space Marine, the setup is a lot more easy. So uh, and it's just like a big bunch of geometric primitives, like described in the non-metal guide. So just added a bit of white here to increase the contrast. And another thing is that you practice with a loaded brush is patience because you always need to let it dry in between to really judge what you're doing. Then like step back, see, okay, it does need more contrast. Where do I pull my highlights together? No, actually, the ultramarine was done completely different. The ultramarine was done using just layers and glazes. Like layers and glazes are the most basic technique that you can use, and you can. The nice thing is you can really push it into like a perfect blend. It's the same with a loaded brush. If you don't get it perfect, you use layers and glazes to correct things. So I'm always using a combination of different techniques on the surface. It's really reality that I would say like, okay, it's not 100% with the loaded brush. You could try that just for training purposes. And I did that in the beginning when I discovered the loaded brush for myself. It was also like, oh, God, cool, I can do anything with it. So I just loaded the brush and painted and painted and painted. So I mean, someone asked how I came up with it. I actually came up with it like with just not cleaning my brush and always wanted it to become faster and faster. So I just had some paints on the brush and touched the surface and saw like, whoa, okay, two paints. I can do a blending. Maybe if I figure it out, it works. Um, so I tried that, but that actually it's not a new technique. It's you find that technique in oil painting, and so they're like different resources. The nice thing about art is we're always doing more or less the same with different results. So uh, there are also other painters in miniatures that use the loaded brush in their very own way. So I don't know. It's always good to experiment a bit with what you do with the brush. Okay, I've just added a bit of the almond brown also in here, and that's also something I really like to do. Is I try to use the same colors in the shadows in all the parts to just try to simulate an ambient light. So I'm also putting some of the armor brown here. It's actually the same reason why I prefer to use the same highlight tone in all the colors and don't switch. Yeah, that's right, Unseen Dragon. It's uh, it's also nice to see how the colors mix in the brush and how just even if you have water in the back of the brush and color in the front of the brush, and pull the paint to see how you can do like a feathering with the loader brush. Uh, that is really like um, Chinese ink paintings. Okay, that's a good question by the late Guerre. So you can see my the paints on the palette have different consistencies. So here also because I sit next to the heater, those here are already quite dry. And if you test them here on the dilution helper, you can see here they cover just with one. One thing that I have to mention is actually that the consistency changes also because I have water and different amounts of water in the back of the brush. So that's also something. Ah, oh no! Am I back? Ah, too bad. So all my beautiful explanations about the different consistencies are lost. So well, let's do it again here then without switching the camera. So you can see here. The consistencies are different on the brush on the palette. So uh, not only the color changes here, but the paint here is actually quite thick. So here it's already a little bit dry, but you can see it covers extremely well. So it's like a very heavy base tone. Here on the side, it's not only lighter, but it's also thinner. So if I take some here, you can see it's quite a light glaze. So um, that way I can just pick also different consistencies. Also, you have to keep in mind that the amount of water that I have in the brush when I paint can be quite different. So you can go from like a super soaked brush like that, or you can wipe it off and you have an almost dry brush. That also influences the blending on the surface. But I try to have different consistencies. So already on the palette, so I can pick them like just how I need them. So, because I know that is a little bit confusing when you see it, that's also another reason why we also have the dilution helpers here on the top to just show the consistency on the brush before I'm picking it up and putting it on the model. So like here you can see the consistency here of the paint is really thin and just a little bit moved over here. It's a lot thicker. Yeah, it's also really The amount of water in the back of the brush is really quite crucial for the result of the blending. So play a little bit with that and test that out. Um, I don't know. I set up the actual palette yesterday evening. Um, so I don't know. I usually use the palette up to 24 hours and then I change it because I either have fibers in the palette or I don't know. Sometimes it just dries off. Like at the moment here, like the where I sit and stream, it's just directly next to the heater, so it dries out a lot faster because it's quite cold at the moment. So the heater is running like crazy. Um, so I think after that session, maybe in an hour, most of the paint will dry out, will be dried out. I try to rescue it every now and then with a drop of water and just steering on the palette, like just refreshing that. Yeah, definitely the parchment paper makes a huge difference. Um, Also, like even stuff like the sponge makes a difference. So you have to try it out yourself what you can get locally. At the moment here on the palette, this is just some white parchment paper from Lidl. I also used the Masterson wet palette paper or the P3 paper. I like the P3 paper, but it's always like that. If a paper works good for one purpose, it doesn't necessarily work good for all other purposes. So the Masterson paper is great because it's more durable, but it doesn't hold inks. So uh, you can't work with inks or super diluted colors on that. This here it holds all the paints fantastically, but it's not as durable. So you can rip off fibers a lot more easy. So you need to change it more often. And I think an advice, not like for the palette, but for painting, that is really important is don't always try to. I'm not sure you can find good plastic paper on Amazon. Maybe I never checked it actually. No, but you know we learn a lot to work with paint sets, which can be fantastic. But the problem is a lot of us learn, okay, we highlight that blue with a lighter blue or a different blue, even worse, a different blue, because often it's not the same shade. So just use different colors to tone down one tone. So like the Armor Brown here on the green, um, and just try to work with consecutive colors in the shadows and highlights. Yeah, I also have the separation on the palette. Either that or it dries out. But I actually have more the problem that it dries out than I have separation on the palette itself. If I close it, I also have the separation, so I try to not close the lid too closely. Okay, so I think I will. Would you guys prefer to also see the game air range? Yeah, actually, I think I don't own a single pod. I just tested one out at a friend of mine of the game air range. But the some of the colors, depending on the companies, just separate easily, and others are more sticking together. It depends on the medium and the pigments they use. Um, So you can be lucky and have just one color that works and another that doesn't. So no, like I don't really close the lid. I just put the lid on top. Um, Sometimes I even forget that. So either I refresh them in the morning, just putting a bit of water on the dots and mixing it on the palette, or I just have to mix the paints freshly in new. I usually like to keep my color setup quite simple, so I can easily remix the tones. It gets complex in the end for sure, but like the general tones that I use are quite simple mixed. So guys, any last questions before we leave, or any wishes for the or recommendations for the next string session? So right, cool. Yeah, I think the chats will always be about a like an hour to two max long. So we don't bore each other to death with with me sitting here and painting. Um, the streams I didn't share the stream, so at the moment it's only like Patreons. Um, yeah, I don't know. There was a good question before about if I ever get the feeling of getting stuck with like sticking too much to recipes. I think the more like professional you get into your routine, the more easily you fall into the trap of just using the same things over and over again. So you have to break with that. I think some rules are good because it makes your life easier. Um, Also, you get more get a better method of achieving things fast. But you have to be always open to like create atmosphere and create a specific atmosphere for each and every piece. So just because I use the same tones doesn't mean I end up with the same result. Same as with the non-metal. It always needs to fit the style and the atmosphere that you want to display. I think it will also continue on this figure. Maybe not in the next chat, but I have to see. I will do like a schedule of the for the chats, so you guys know a little bit in advance when they will be happening and also what we will be showing. We can also be like a little bit more free and test this out and have a look at some non-metal pieces and then discuss it all together. Um, I ordered also a different light here because at the moment I still have like the light is not 100% consistent here with like the slightly blue impact here on the side. Um, and so um, that will already look better next time. So yeah, guys, I'm super happy about the how the Patreon goes and about your support and thanks for having joined me here for the first streaming session. And yeah, I think it's really great. Um, I th I would like to do like at least two streaming sessions a month. So I have to take a look at the January is already pretty full. So also have to see how I arrange things with my VNC now. So no, she's at work at the moment. So I think the plan is maybe next Thursday could be possible, or I will be on holiday for 4 days. So after that, maybe. So end of the month. Yeah, Sunday would also be good. I have to check that out. Um, or maybe in the evening during a weekday. So yeah, I mean, again, thanks for being here, and thanks for watching me paint and listen to uh, what I say. And yeah, guys, I can only say thanks for watching, and I'll figure out a nice schedule for these chat. And also the if everything worked out, which I just hope these will be later on YouTube, so you can just have a look at all that again and again. All right, so have a nice weekend, and hear you soon.